Alright, the purpose of this video is to kind of go over the differences between the Mavic 3T, the Matrice 30T, and the big 300 RTK, specifically to the purpose of deer recovery. Alright, now we're going to discuss the payloads that the drones provide. The Mavic 3 Enterprise has a thermal camera, a zoom lens, and a wide angle lens. It does also have room for an auxiliary payload up top here. CZI is making a gimbaled spotlight that I have on order. You can buy external speakers, RTK modules. They got a couple little things you can hook up there that give the drone additional features. It does also have a 3-model nautical beacon. On the previous model, you actually had to remove that accessory to put on the speaker or beacon or spotlight combo, so you could never have both running at the same time. So now that the beacon's built in, it's much better for that reason. We come over to the 30T. Now we have the laser rangefinder, the thermal, a wide angle camera, and a zoom camera. This one also has an auxiliary payload option. We've been running the LP12 spotlight speaker combo, but CZI also has a double gimbal spotlight that will mount up here as well. Again, something else I also have on order. I will put a picture in this video so you can see what the LP12 looks like installed on it. Then we come over to the 300 RTK. Now I have the double payload mount installed on this drone, so I can run 2 payloads underneath and an additional payload on top if I wanted to. For what I'm doing, the spotlight, especially for deer recovery. Then we have the H20T over here, which this has a laser rangefinder, a really good thermal sensor, a nice zoom lens, and a wide angle camera as well. And on this side here, we have the Wingsland Z15 spotlight, super bright, helps you to identify what you're looking at through the thermal by using your daylight camera to confirm it. So it definitely has a lot of flexibility, so you don't have to use this drone just for deer recovery. You can take these payloads off, set it up for something you're doing during the day, and exchange them out as you need to change per job. One of the big things you have to be worried about when you're doing deer recovery is portability. Mavic 3 Enterprise is an extremely small package. Even in this case with multiple batteries, it fits really small, so it's really easy to carry around. The 30T, for its size unpacked, can fold up very small and again fits in a very small case. Even though you have this large of a drone, it's extremely portable. Then we get over to the elephant in the room. This guy is not very portable at all. If you ran the factory cases, you'd have to carry 4 cases out in the field. I bought the bigger GPC case that allows me to put all my accessories, batteries, payloads, everything in one case. The thing weighs like 80 pounds. It takes a little bit to set up. So it's kind of a hindrance that way, but the main reason I fly this guy is because I have it. I need to see my return on investment. So when I'm not doing enterprise work, I'll do deer recovery and other gigs like that to make up for the cost of this unit and for having. That brings us up to setup. Both these drones honestly set up about the same. Fold out arms, really fast to deploy, get you in the field, get you up in the air real quick. This guy, you have to lock your arms. You got knuckles to set up, payloads to set up, add, remove. It's a lot of hassle. I don't recommend this for an amateur pilot because it's just going to create more hassles than benefits. And just given its size, it's so cumbersome. But again, I use it because I have it. Another big factor for deer recovery will be flight time. We're going to do a comparison based on if it was equal winds. So we're talking, say, 5-mile-per-hour winds. These two are going to get roughly the same amount of flight time, even with the LP12 being installed on that drone. That spotlight speaker combo. They can get anywhere between 25 and 30 minutes realistically, depending on how you're flying. Obviously will affect it as well. You get into the big guy here and you get the double payloads under it. With dual payload, I can get usually right around 40 minutes. If I go to single payload, like if I ran just the H20T sensor by itself, I can get into that 45-minute threshold pretty easily as long as I'm not too aggressive on the controls. These drones all have really good wind resistance. Obviously the smaller one has the least amount of wind resistance. I commonly fly in 20-30 mile per hour winds with these two here. I would do it with the 3T, I just wouldn't feel as comfortable, and you're not going to get nearly as much flight time, where these two seem to be kind of not nearly as affected by that kind of wind speed for flight time. It might bring them down a few minutes, but it's nothing that's going to take you out of getting a recovery done. Of course, the most important subject, pricing. So these drones can vary quite drastically depending on the accessories you purchase with them. The big guy down here, my kit with all the stuff I have into it, his MSRP is probably right around $34,000. when you get all the flight batteries, cases, and I'm not even counting the GPC case. I kind of just pretend I didn't have to invest that amount of money into a case. So yeah, $34,000 is kind of your typical setup for what I'm running right here. Your 30T, much more budget friendly. You're going to be anywhere between 20 and 22,000 depending how many batteries you buy and whatever other accessories that you decide to purchase with the drone. Then you come over to your 3T. These guys start at 5,500, so they're really a cheap option to get into it. But once you start adding accessories on, it doesn't take much to get to the entry price of a 30T, especially if you buy a ton of batteries and start getting some accessories. I haven't seen pricing on that gimbal, double gimbal spotlight on the top, but I gotta imagine it's not going to be cheap, so stand by again for that. Now, based on all my experience, I wouldn't bother investing in a 3T. They're great for search and rescue for police and fire departments. They have that pricing point where it makes sense. They can get multiple units, or if they're on a really tight budget, they can get one unit. So the thermal sensor leaves a lot to be desired. When you compare it to the 30T or the 300, they're not comparable in my books anymore. The 30T is honestly the one I recommend. It's easy to set up, it's portable, has excellent thermal sensor, it's got the laser rangefinder so you can do spot marking and pinpoints that are very accurate. You can take that GPS data from that pinpoint, drop it on Onyx, and walk right out to your deer. Super, super awesome. Now, the 300 RTK, it can do all those same functions. It has a better thermal sensor, but it's just not compact, it's not portable, it's not easy to set up. It can be quite daunting, especially if you're a new pilot. So I always tell anyone who's looking to get into deer recovery, look at the 30T. It's by far the best bang for the buck. If you guys could, please like and subscribe. I'll be doing future videos on some of the accessories I use, lighting, landing pads, all the little odds and ends that make deer recovery easier and care and maintenance on your drone that much easier as well. Please like and subscribe.